Hello, my Panda pals, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be covering The Single Life, Season 4, Tell All, Part 3. Not gonna lie, not a lot happened this episode, but I will still do my best to make it suck as little as possible. So with that said, sit down, buckle up, and let's all go for a ride. We pick back up with Natalie, who during the last episode was super insulted when she thought that some of the cast members were basically calling her a hooker because she's sleeping with Josh and all she gets in return is money and not a relationship. Chantel sticks up for Natalie, telling Josh that he cannot claim to want to help her while also sleeping with her by dangling a carrot in front of her face called commitment. Josh says that things between him and Natalie have only ever been casual, and Natalie goes on to agree.
What is not casual? You can go. I don't need you.
Okay,
you come into back to my life.
This is interesting, considering she came on this tell-all specifically to have the what are we to each other conversation with him. Sean asks Peyton to clarify what he meant when he said that he's seen this type of behavior in Josh before.
He will get into relationship with people that need help in some capacity. He likes fixing people.
Peyton goes on to say that Josh tends to get stuck in this cycle and he doesn't know when to end the relationship despite it being damaging for both parties. Sean then asks Natalie where she is regarding her wanting a family, and she says that she cannot bring a child into her current situation. It's good to know that she is capable of making some good decisions. She tells Josh that she has been honest with him from the get-go. She wants a family, she has always wanted a family, and if he didn't want a family, then it was not okay for him to waste her time.
We're not even on the family topic. Like we're not even a couple right now. So what are we talking about?
He brings up a good point. Why are you expecting husband behavior from a man you aren't even dating? Sean asks Josh if he expects to see Natalie again, considering they just spent the night together yesterday.
Yeah, I do.
What status I'm having?
You want me to propose to you? I don't understand what you need here.
Josh goes on to tell Natalie that she's all over the place and she has no definitive answer to what it is she actually wants. The cast takes a break and they all head into the back and rag on Josh nonstop.
Josh is wishy-washy.
You have to accept somebody where they are, not for what they're gonna change into.
Tim comes in the back and defends Josh, and again, I hate agreeing with Tim, but I agree with Tim. Tim says that he does not think Josh is a bad guy, and Natalie's like, oh, sure, he's a great guy, just not when he's with me.
When you needed him, he answered the phone, Natalie. He came and he helped you.
Don't sleep with him.
Your cookie's all your power. You give it up and you give it away.
That is true.
Don't do that.
Wow, it is true what they say. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. All of these people just threw away their distaste for each other in order to band behind Natalie. Chantel is over here talking like, oh, you gotta guard your cookie is your power, as if she was not just bit-bopping around Greece, being all provocative and sexy and putting it all out there. And Debbie's like, yeah, what she said, as if she was not just criticizing the hell out of Chantel for the way that she was acting provocatively out in Greece.
Why he cannot call me his girlfriend? What did I do? He's playing me like I'm a toy, like I'm a seed.
Girl, stop begging. He already told you that he is not committing because you are crazy. Josh walks in backstage and Veronica is foaming at the mouth, just rabid for some crazy shit to go down.
I'm so happy you're here.
Hey, how's it going?
You need to be here right now.
Josh steals Natalie away to talk to her in private. They sit down and Natalie asks again why she is not getting a relationship status and confronts him about how he embarrassed her in front of everyone by calling her a charity case. Josh says he did not call her that and tries to explain, but Natalie just keeps spiraling out of control.
Just throw away all the time and we started to poke and Ponima wants to go home and everybody pokes and pokes and like, you see, it's dangerous.
I'm sorry, what? What does that even mean? Is she trying to say, why are you kicking me when I'm down? I have no idea, let's just move on. Josh is finally able to calm her down long enough to tell her that the reason they cannot be in a relationship is because they have to fix what is happening right now. Natalie tells us that she does not trust him anymore, and Josh is just tossing her around like she's just a silly little object.
I do have feelings for him. Why would he treat me like an object?
Girl did not listen to a thing he said, did she? He said like 10 words, that's it. That's all she had to hear, and she did not hear them. Wow, Natalie is the queen of ruining her own life. Everybody heads back on stage and we pivot over to Tyray. Sean asks him what he thinks is the biggest obstacle for him in his quest to getting his first girlfriend.
I think I'm the obstacle, honestly. I think it's just me, like, in my head. You know, I have trust issues and I have issues in general.
He tells us that 90% of the time, he cannot read whether a girl is actually into him or not. Considering he has an incredibly limited exposure to dating, that is not surprising. You cannot learn to read the room if you are not in the room. Tyray is starting to get experience, which is great. He will get better at it the more he does it. Tyray tells us he doesn't know why Tiffany ghosted him and that Raina and him have chatted, but it's always been casual and friendly. Sean asks if he has any new prospects, and Tyray says that he actually met another woman while he was out in New Orleans, and they've talked back and forth through social media. However, he was very drunk that night and does not remember her name, and she does not list it anywhere on her social media.
Well, Tyray, we know her name. It's Shannon.
Oh.
And Shannon is here with us today.
Oh my goodness.
Shannon comes on stage and gives Tyray a big hug.
God, wow, I'm like shocked she came. Honestly, I had no idea, honestly.
She tells everyone that she was on Bourbon Street when she saw Tyray and she went up to him to strike up a conversation. They ended up exchanging socials and have been talking ever since. She says it's definitely been flirtatious, but they have not met up again until today. Sean asks why Tyray hasn't made plans to see her, and he says that he's been really insecure to make the first step, but he's definitely ready now.
What are we doing tonight?
Oh, that's the right question.
Ask her on a date.
Yeah, we should hang out.
I'm down for that.
Tyray goes on to ask her what she wants to do, and she says, you know what, going out to eat at like a nice restaurant and then maybe just doing something cute and touristy would be great.
There's a Mexican spot too, right down the street.
Stay away from the beans, brother.
Let's not Mexican, Tyray.
Bad choice of food, Tyray.
Oh, okay.
And everyone then throws a few suggestions his way, like don't eat fish, maybe skate around Rockefeller, and get some toasted nuts. Which these are good ideas, so I would definitely keep them in mind. Tim then asks Shannon how she feels about Tyray being a 33-year-old virgin.
I mean, it really doesn't move me in either way. It's not a negative thing to me at all. Like, it doesn't bother me at all.
Sean then goes on to expose Tyray by saying he hasn't even been kissed yet, which Shannon is surprised to hear because she was not aware of it. And Sean goes on to sneakily say, you could absolutely be his first kiss if you wanted.
Are you game?
Oh, God.
Why not right now?
I mean, why not right now?
Tyray, you ready?
Oh, God. All right, I'm game.
The two of them stand up and it's hella awkward because Tyray has no idea what to do and this is his first kiss in front of a bunch of other people. Thankfully, Shannon takes the lead and gives him a peck on the lips and oh my gosh, it was wholesome, it was cute, and oh, thank God, it was not weird and like tonguey. They say goodbye to Shannon and Tyray leaves to walk her out. Tyray comes back and we move on over to John. John tells us that since moving in with Meghan, his routine has changed a lot from his bachelor days.
You know, as time's gone on, I'm like a father figure now, so she'll jump off the bunk bed, I call it a little flying squirrel, and she'll cuddle for a little bit, and that's my morning now.
He goes on to say he doesn't miss his old lifestyle because he's happy with where he's at now and he's very excited for the future. Meghan comes on stage, Sean asks her how is life now that John is living with her in River, and you would think she would be like, oh, it's great, I love him, he's been fantastic. But you would be wrong.
Well, it's definitely different because I'm used to just me and my daughter. I was pretty content with that. I mean, I wasn't really looking for anything.
That, my good friends, is the most tepid response to that question. Sean touches on the fact that John has said in the past that he does not want a biological child. John jumps in to say that, you know, he isn't trying to have a child, but he also isn't not trying to not have a child. Is that right? I think that's wrong. Okay. And John jumps in and says he isn't trying to have a child, but he also isn't trying to not have a child.
We're not wearing protection.
You're not pulling out?
Well, that certainly is a choice. I don't really know if I would want a kid with a guy who's like, I don't want a kid, but if I get one, I'll figure it out. Meghan surprisingly says that she's okay with not having another child because John and River are enough for her, but she's also not going out of her way to not have another one either. Sean welcomes Pat onto the stage and asks him if he thinks John is ready to take on a stepfather role.
No.
You don't?
Really?
Whoa.
John getting into a relationship and like having to be a stepfather wasn't an ideal situation.
Pat says he knows John and he knows that this is a lot for him and that John has always said that he does not want his own kids.
But he's already done it. He's been doing it.
And I think you have a really big heart.
Thank you,
and
Debbie.
you love and care for her.
John tells us he lived the lifestyle that suited him best at the time, and since that has changed, he's adjusted. Pat says that he doesn't regret anything he shared about John to Meghan when they first met because she needs to know what she's getting into.
Do you have any red flags with Meghan?
The only red flags I have with Meghan is really just like some of the jealousy stuff that's come up.
Meghan says that she's told John about her trust issues and that she's working on it. But John also has instances of jealousy, and she's not the only bad guy here. Sean asks Pat to elaborate on what kinds of things John has told him.
You know, between the location sharing, you know, having problems when he's working and having to be called home.
Pat goes on to say that John has said that if he takes too long at a job where he is at someone's house installing security systems, that Meghan will get suspicious and be mad at him. Chantel suggests that while sharing locations can build trust, that Meghan might want to delete it because it might be more detrimental to her since she seems to be pretty obsessed with it.
I don't check his location though. That's the thing. I don't check it constantly.
Sean asks her if she trusts John 100%.
Maybe 99.9.
Okay.
Which we all know is a lie. I will be generous and say that she probably trusts him 45%?
That's human nature. Like, that means I really, truly love him if, like, I have that fear in me a little bit that, like, I don't want him to hurt me, like, you know?
Oh my God, no! I love my partner so much that it hurts. And I trust him 100% of the time. If he is at work for longer than I anticipated, my first thought is not, oh, he must be cheating on me. It's, he's probably talking to someone about the new magic deck he just built.
Our instances of jealousy, like I would say once every 2 weeks. I think it's normal. I think that if there was no issues at all, then that would worry me.
I think that's crazy. Do people not think that's crazy? Damn. Well, I am definitely adding that to my gratitude journal tonight. Sean asks her to give them some examples of some of their fights, and it is pretty typical of the jealous stuff you hear. They get mad if the other person looks at someone with a nice figure, or if they're messaging other people, they have to know who it is. She does say that sometimes it blows up into a bigger fight, but then it only lasts a day and then they're fine.
Oh, those comments, they're not gonna nourish that relationship.
I'm like, I disagree. I know my relationship, so I wouldn't be with someone if it was the case.
Ooh, yikes. Veronica says they seem to have the same kind of jealousy, so they really should just accept it and move past it because that's not normal.
You guys are just fueling this fire where you're just always on edge.
No, I disagree.
Pat says that it is a way bigger deal than they are currently making it out to be. And Debbie says they should cut Meghan some slack. And Pat says that things will not change if you do not bring awareness to them.
What needs to change, though? What needs to change?
Well, just the trust issues.
It's only because he's so good to me and he's so good to my daughter, so.
What does that even mean? Oh my God, I just need a second to process that because I don't understand what that means. Maybe she means that John treats her so well and she's not used to it because she's always been treated poorly in the past, so it triggers skepticism in her. Like, John can't be 100% genuine. He must be deceiving me because everyone has always deceived me. That's what I'm gonna go with because that is the hardest think I can give to that one. Regardless, she needs therapy because that's still not normal. Veronica asks if the two have gotten engaged yet because Meghan definitely had a timeline.
But realistically, you know, that's not like me to kind of put like an ultimatum on somebody because in the beginning I wasn't even about marriage.
What, Patrick? Your face.
Is this bitch for real? She knows she was being recorded for this show and that we saw that, right?
I've heard there's timelines.
What have you heard?
Patrick, tell us, spill the tea. Come on now.
Meghan, why do you look so confused? You gave him a timeline to move to Texas, and then the day after he arrived, you gave him a timeline to get engaged. Do not gaslight us.
So what's the timeline for the engagement? Like
Right, but
5 years?
Oh no, honey, that's too long. No, that's a little too long.
Okay.
John goes on to keep talking without answering the question. He says he loves Meghan and she loves him. They have to work on some trust issues and nobody's perfect and he doesn't want to be with anybody else. And Tim is like, okay, so what is the timeline?
I mean, my expectation, I would hope that it's within like a year and a half.
Well, you just never, I mean, I'm not a timeline guy.
Meghan goes on to say she does not need the actual commitment, she just needs the engagement. Then go buy a ring at Claire's and call it a day. Without commitment, the engagement means nothing. But I guess if delusion fuels your engine, your tank's gotta eat, right? And boy, does that tank get fed, because John proceeds to get down on one knee.
Miss Meghan Brown.
Oh, kiss for poison.
And that, my Panda Pals, is all for today. Now, I know I said that there was gonna be 5 parts to this tell-all, and then I said there was gonna be 3, and clearly that is not true because we are getting another part. So I'm gonna stop getting my intel from Poe, and I'm gonna stop setting expectations for y'all. This could be 4 parts, this could be 5 parts, they could come into my house and do the tell-all here. Like, I have no idea. But if it airs, I will recap it. That is my Panda promise. I hope you guys had a great time today. Be sure to tune in for next time. And as always, thanks for not letting me ride this train wreck alone. Bye.